This is Bringing the Darkness to the Light with Catherine Nadal, professional psychic medium.
Today's guest is Consequence of Energy. Born from the Chilean rock underground, Consequence of Energy blend the heaviness of Tool and rage against the machine with the grit, urgency, and passion of Latin America. The band's upcoming debut album, We Are One, 2026, expands their vision with realistic drums, chants, and cinematic soundscapes. With their eyes set on international stages, Consequence of Energy are carving a place in the global rock. Tonight we have guitarist Diego and singer Mike. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Hey, Catherine, how are you?
Thank you.
Hi, Kathy.
Thank you. Thanks so much. This is really a cool experience. You know, I'm blown away, I have to say. I've dived into all of your music. I've played Freedom several times. I'm like hooked on it. And then I was reading the statistics, kind of like how they put music out. And that song Freedom really kind of soared the charts so far. So I want to really ask you about this, how it made like a big splash, because just less than a month ago, you had another release with Into the Void. And I know that's also climbing the charts as well. So we should probably just start out with like this big boom of success.
Well, we're hoping for that to happen, but also I think it has to do with where we are now in our society. Freedom's kind of a song that's relating to everybody, where no matter what position you are in society, it's kind of a game that's never ending and it feels like your goals can never be achieved. So there's kind of some sarcasm in there and the duality of life met in a song. So that's what's portrayed in that song particularly.
Yes, you know, I find it interesting because you're right. It's not just a local. It's really how the world is seeing itself right now. And there's so much going on. You know, it's personal freedom. It could be political. It could be so many different things that are going on right now. So I think addressing something that is going to resonate with everyone right now is really important. Who's the main songwriter on all of this? Like, how do you put a song together as a band?
Well, lyrically and most of the melodies I handle, but as a band, we create all the music and we go over obviously the subjects we're writing about. You know, since I'm the only native English speaker, I'm in charge of the songwriting. But obviously, we all follow the same message. We agree on it, and then we put it forward.
Right. So yeah, like we have like this not system, but like we come like with a idea, guitar. Mikey start like throwing some ideas about the concepts we've been talking, and then like we try to go deeper and deeper. So first, like we try to do it as raw as possible, and then we start producing on top of that.
That's kind of interesting because on Freedom, the sound of Freedom is so different than your other songs. I have to make mention to that because I went back and forth between them and I'm like, wow, they really have a different sound to each song that they're doing.
The whole album is actually each song has a different sound, which is interesting, but it has a similar concept through the whole album. Basically talking about duality and human experience and feelings and the light and dark of how we live our days.
Yes. So was Freedom something that came very quickly compared to the other songs, or was it the opposite?
Funny enough, all the songs came out as kind of a transmission, a message that couldn't be held back. Freedom, particularly, we wrote on acoustic guitar and a cajon, and then brought it to the production table. Most of the songs have been created and transmitted within a couple days, really, of the concepts and the sound. And then obviously fine-tuning production has been going on for a year, but for the most part, the album was put together in a short period of time.
Yeah, we wrote like almost everything in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, that's pretty
And more songs because we have more songs that we have to keep out of the album. I think we're gonna include it in something in the future, but we wrote a lot. Like we had like this super intense day by day, like we were writing by day by night, like every day for like a couple months.
And then the final tuning of each song was actually like I would call it freestyle in the actual recording of the album. So with Garth Richardson there, he has his own method to push everybody to their best, I guess. That's his job as the producer, right? So he'd have us sing the song over and over and over again until finally, at the end of the song, it just comes out in a lash of therapy or liberation. And so you can see that at the end of each song, there's a lot of energy.
Yes, you mentioned Garth Richardson. Just for the sake of the audience, he's known for his work with Rage Against the Machine, Red Hot Chili Peppers. You also are working very closely with the engineer, who's Dean Meyer. He's known for his work with AC/DC. The album was mastered by Howie Weinberg, who's known for his work with Metallica and Nirvana. And it was mixed, I have to say, by Dave Schiffman, who's known for Autoslave and System of a Down. So you really have like incredible talent that has their hands all over this, which is just really very lucky of you. How did you come together with all of that talent?
I had a previous project with another band in Chile that I flew to Vancouver around 2012, 2013. In that time, through a friend of mine, I discovered him. He discovered us, the music we were doing, and we became like good friends. And he did an album for us. That album didn't succeed, even though it was a really good music. Like we had problems with the record label in that time. It sucked a little bit. So I always stay in contact with him. Like we share some ideas and stuff like that. So when with Mikey we start doing some songs, we record like 3 demos, and I send it to him like, hey, what do you think about this? It's like, wow, like I want to, like how we can do it. And so we start talking about it, and he flew to Chile with Dean. Like we didn't know Dean before, and they come. We have a studio here called Los Lobos Records by the beach. We start working in the production, and we have everything set ready. He talked with Dave, and he was like really interested in the project, so he mixed it. Actually, he just said something really cool for me. Like I don't know, like he says like, oh, it sounds like System of a Floyd. For me, it was like kind of a joke, but it was kind of cool because he says, yeah, we have like that deep thing that from Pink Floyd, and that like heaviness and craziness from System for Down. So it was kind of cool. So yeah, like we were working there, and like they were adding up till we have like the whole thing done. And like I'm super proud of this album. I love it. I think it's a piece of art. Yeah.
Wow. So I just want to circle back to what you said earlier, because you said that you had a project previous to this. So were all the band members existing except for Mike? Was he the new addition? Or did you have to form new members to kind of come together with this new music?
No, this album was like we are all like new in this album. Like we were like Rodrigo, or other guitar player, I know him for many years. Pedro, the bass player, same. We all come from different bands, you know. Mikey, he's always been like close to the music. He's the founder of the studio. He have like a beautiful vision of art and like culture and stuff like that. He has been like a great pump in the scene in Chile, like developing some cool projects and stuff. Like he's really smart in that way. So when we start doing this band, it come from zero. Like we start like from scratch. I wasn't playing from. I quit music for 7 years, something like that. I was like kind of tired after the last tour in the States. We were like all good friends and stuff like that, and we have like a really cool chemistry together. Like we laugh a lot. We laugh a lot. So it has been a beautiful process as well, like super deep, and like a brotherhood as well. So it has been like beautiful. Yeah.
I refound joy for music, I think, was because most people in the band, I mean, besides Amaru, is our drummer, he was recording with a different band in our studio, and we invited him to come play drums on one of the demo tracks. And he's like, yeah, I like it. I want to stay. But everybody else had kind of retired from like Pedro and Diego and Rodrigo. They had all been kind of disinvolved with being in the idea of being in a band and making music. And so it's very nice to see this like new energy come out of them, a redefined love for rock and roll and family too. Like we kind of, it's like a family, the band. So
This is great because I think one of the things that you said earlier is really what has kind of motivated all of you. And it's because you created a bit of a mission with your music. Like you're saying, it's about how people are living or about how people are feeling. So it's redefining maybe perhaps how all the guys in the band see music or how they feel about playing music. You know, it's very easy to get disenchanted by the experience or about not getting famous right away or not getting opportunities the way you expect. But then when you're faced with something which is new, like a bright new idea, in some way it motivates you. Is that what happened with the band?
Yes, definitely. When we started making music and we realized that it was a way to actually attempt to make changes, even though we talk about not being able to change, we still believe that our music could somehow reach and create a positive message for youth and, bring back some more like the original love that people had for rock and roll and just basically contribute in a positive way to, the music industry.
Yeah, and also we are doing like so differently of like music have changed so much with the format changes. When I was like a kid, I didn't record like not a demo, like anything. I was like playing gigs. We were gathering, I don't know, like 1,000 or 2,000 people going to our concerts. And then like they were prepared to have like the album or the demo you release or something like that. We were promoting our shows with like flyers and posters in the streets, was really different in that time. So with all the internet thing and all this stuff, like everything is focused in like how much reproductions you have. Like it's kind of weird, right? You do it not for how much audience like you can reach, is for like the people who resonate with your music and your message. We were trying to not be in any way like trying to be like driven by the industry, like the standards of the industry, but doing in a high standard of art, focus in the music aspect, in the emotions, even though we are not like, I'm not the best guitar player in earth, like there's like many guitar players that are, but I think I am really good in expressing my emotions through the guitar, like Mikey, same, like he's like vomiting a lot of emotions and truths behind, like facing truths and difficult stuff. Like I think that kind of a lot of people can relate with those kind of emotions, and that's why we are trying to bring to the table.
So it's kind of curious what you're saying to me is because you're right. Music has really changed. The face of music has changed. So now everything is really based on social media. It's based on streaming. You could get a CD, you could get an album, but the majority of people are really streaming it and they're able to see how many times it's downloaded, and that's really where the statistics are kind of coming from. But I think you're right. I think a lot of times someone will tell me about a band or about an individual doing something, and I'm like, I haven't heard of it. The minute I play it, I'm like, oh, I have to get it. Like, literally, it's by suggestion now. And it's not necessarily the way it was commercially done back, like you're referencing, what was expected in the music business, where they were kind of putting out pop stuff or they were putting out a certain genre where you would expect to see certain musicians. Now
Right.
it's very random, to be honest. It's someone sent me someone today and I was like, I never heard of them. And then the minute I played it, I was like, my eyes were wide open. I'm like, how come I haven't heard of this, So
Right.
that's really interesting. Tell me a bit more about growing up in Chile and about the influences of Chile. I mean, I've done a lot of travel around the world, but not to Chile. So can you tell the audience what it's like in your country?
Well, Mike is not Chilean though.
So Mike
but,
is not. Okay, so what is Mike so the audience
I'm
knows?
I'm half Italian, half American.
Okay,
Uh,
and you
I
currently live in America or where are you
I no,
living?
I live in Chile. I've been living
Oh,
in Chile
okay.
for 20
All
years.
right, good. Okay. So
I'm
you're a transplant, I guess they call
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
and I'm half Ecuadorian. I'm in this moment in Ecuador. Like my mother is from here, so like all my family, mother side's from here. So like I have a lot of connection with the jungle, and with like the Amazon jungle and stuff like that, and the tribes here. And yeah, like I grew up in Chile. Chile is a really weird country. It's a beautiful country. It have like a really diverse nature, because you have desert, you have like the coldest places in the south, you have beautiful woods and stuff like that, the forest. You have Long Beach, you have like the Andes, like mountains. So like you can one day you can go like do, I don't know, ski, and in the evening go and do surf. Like it's everything really close and far at the same time. And politically, it's a country that has had like a big regime. So it has been like, it's curious how it works. Even though it works really well, the people is cool. I like it. I like Chile a lot. I think the people there is really cool. I have really good friends and stuff like that. I think it's a small country that have a lot of impact in South America as well. But it's really different to the culture, for example, here in Ecuador or Colombia or Brazil, because the people is more cold and the country is colder. It's like
And
the
it's
part of
more
Chile,
it's isolated as well. I mean,
yeah, it's
considering
really
it's
isolated.
protected
Yeah,
by the Andes from all the transportation back then. They've been isolated by also the regime. What Diego was talking about was the Pinochet dictatorship and Allende and all those problems back in the 70s.
right. So yeah, it's cool. The music scene here is awesome. Like there is a lot of great bands, a lot of love and passion for music. When the people from other places come, like they say, like, what's going on? Like people's crazy. Yeah, I like it.
So it's interesting because you had said something earlier about your family, and that I think you said your mother's from a tribe. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, we're in Cotacachi, but yeah, like we work with. I personally with Nike, we work like helping environmentally, doing some reserves in the Amazon jungles. I work directly with some tribes from the Amazon. Like here, the all the First Nation things is a important thing, so we're working on that.
The reason why I brought that up is because when I was listening to your music, I
Hmm.
started to take notes.
Hmm.
And I was taking notes because each and every song sounds so completely different to me. And it
Hmm.
has like its own vibe. And We Are One, I literally wrote down like American Indian sounds. I mean, that's what it sounded like to me. So, where was that derived from? How does that sound set apart in that song so creatively and differently than the rest?
Okay, so that's kind of the intro of the song, and it's a pentatonic flute, American, but it's from Colombia. That flute, I played that flute in the beginning, and then we said like, let's bring some tribal percussion and singing, and we're trying to. We put in other songs that maybe you haven't heard yet, like Bridge Divide and stuff like that. We invite a shaman who is a friend of ours to sing also, and also add like other kind of percussion sounds like that, like monks like singing home, stuff like that. Like, it's kind of what we are trying to bring together.
You really got my attention with that one. I was just going to roll into another song, and then I heard that and I was like, where is that coming from? So, have you gotten a lot of feedback regarding how different the songs are?
We haven't yet because like, well, we released the first song like 1 month ago and the second two songs like a week ago. We are releasing the songs like one by one, and then in January we are releasing the album. If you hear the whole thing, it's a whole different experience because it's a trip, it's a conceptual album. Have a beginning, it's like an opening of his ceremony, and then
Mm.
it ends
With sermon.
back. Yeah, so it's like a flow of the life. So it was written in that way, not thinking like everything, like every single details, like other artists sometimes does, but we did it in a way to have that like that trip.
So, how does it make you feel that you've been able to kind of put it together? And I guess what you just said to me feels so important. How did you realize what order the song should be to go in that flow? Because it's hard to piece apart and say, I don't want to eliminate this, or I feel really married to this and I want this to be on the album. How did you kind of piece that together to make it seem like you're opening it and then you actually get to the conclusion of that if you're limited?
We did it in two ways. One part was lyrically about what it was about. When we did We Are One, we did it like an opening. And when we did Bridge Divide, we thought that like
Closure.
we said, like we're gonna do the opening and the and the ending. Like we thought about it first. And then it depending of the emotions of the songs and the like what's
Beat
the
per minute,
message. Huh?
and the BPM as well was also
Right, right. So it goes like that. I think you're gonna dig it when you hear the whole thing.
So at the end, how many songs will be on the album?
12 songs.
12. Okay. All right. Good.
Now we have an issue for the vinyl because the vinyls like have like less minutes because we have like 60 minutes. So maybe the vinyl is gonna have like we are thinking like seeing what we're gonna do there. Like we haven't resolved that yet. But the artwork for the vinyl is really important. We did like a really deep work with a friend of ours that's artist Sebastian. He played in another Chilean band called Spiral Vortex. They are really good. He's a great artist, and our friend Danilo, who is an art director, helped us. So you can use lenses like filters, and you can use also your phone with a filter like a blue and red, so you can see different things when you see the album. So it have like all the contrast and the like. We did with a technique. We did that, and also like the artwork for the actual vinyl is so tropic, like it's all animated. So like the idea is like what we were talking about is like when the vinyl is released, we want to have a physical connection with that aspect. It's like when you used to like buy CDs and stuff like that, like you have a connection with the physical format. So it's something that we want to achieve.
It's interesting the way you describe it because back in the day, they used to have a big kind of connection with movies that were 3D movies. And you'd have to wear these glasses to see the movie a certain way. So having this on your phone and being able to pull it up, is the filter working like a 3D? Or is the filter working to see like hidden
Yeah.
images? I'm trying to like paint a picture here.
It's layers. So we are like it layers the different messages. So it shows different realities. That's the idea.
so through the red lens you see one reality, and through the blue lens you see another reality, basically.
Oh wow! So the
It's
red.
not 3D.
Oh
Yeah, the red
wow!
reveals. Let's say the red reveals the darkness, and the blue reveals the light, or the other way around. So so that's the singles on you can see for the songs we put on, you can see little snippets of the album cover. We haven't released the image fully of the album cover, but you'll understand that it's half blue, half red. But once you put on the blue lens, you see only blue, and then if you put on the red lens, you see only red.
I get that because when I was playing the videos, that spiraling thing is either red or blue. So part of your video already has taken on that same concept. Is that correct?
Yeah. So basically, yeah, red and blue is our vision of the opposite forces, duality, light and dark.
That's interesting because red doesn't mean hot and blue doesn't mean cold, right? It's not temperature sensitive, right? Wow, that's really creative. So, who came up with that idea to blend not just the music but the art to send the message?
Well, we discussed this as a band to do it like in a way that we love the whole thing.
Diego's name is Caminante Cósmico, and it also means
Cosmic Walker.
cosmic walker. So you can understand whose idea it really was to bring all that in there.
Okay, so this is all Diego.
He doesn't want to throw himself flowers, but yes, he was a big pusher. Actually, we were in the car with Elaine Johannes, the producer for Queens of the Stone Age. Driving back up, he produced some songs here for a band called The Alive that we're working with here in Chile. They're from California, but came down and did 2 songs with them. And we were driving away, and we played each of our albums. He was talking about his album, what he had with his wife. And we were talking about our album, and we talked about how important it is for vinyls, right? We hadn't had the artwork done yet, but we were describing what we wanted to do. And he was like, yes, that's what you got to do. And then we ended up in this small little town in the middle of nowhere on the way to Santiago called Pomaire. And we're just walking around, going to buy some hats and some ponchos because Elaine loves some ponchos and hats. And the wife of a store owner was like, "Hey, Elaine, stop, please, stop. Wait 1 second." And the husband went running back to the house. 10 minutes later, came riding up on a bicycle with 4 vinyls, Queens of the Stone Age and the Arctic
All the
Monkey.
things that he worked with, and like he was saying, but this story is really weird because we were talking about that. Alain, he's absolute genius. He has been on tour with Soundgarden. He's friends with Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He played with the Queen of the Age with 11. That's great. And he lives here in Chile now. He have his trio. But the place Mikey is telling you is like a hidden small town. Like it's like in the middle of nowhere, you know? It's so weird. So yeah, like it was like after this great conversation, we have this episode that like, please, wait. And he come back seeing his bike like rushing with all the vinyls. So then after that we were dining there, was like, okay, so this is the thing, like we make records, we do like albums, you know, and like I think the vinyl is an important thing of it.
Yes, I always say that there's signs all around us, and sometimes they're literally hitting us in the face because your conversation kind of goes into the universe, but also the idea that you want someone to remember not just the artist, but the actual album. That's kind of sums up your story there, right?
Right, yeah.
Speaking of signs and basically 1111 and all these numerical synchronizations that you see was a big part of our band, how it started. And it became so frequent in our meetings and our timing that we eventually incorporated it into our logo. We call it the Stairway to 11. You know? But if you notice Consequence of Energy, the two E's line up to make a
611.
311s. So.
Yeah, like
There's an extra 11 also for a joke for Spinal Tap. Like we need another 11.
yeah. So like yeah, it's internal joke, but it's kind of cool.
Wow, yeah, you're right. How did you get the title Consequence of Energy? I mean, it's just like amazing.
Yeah, Mikey came with the name. It was a
It
joke.
was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, it was a
We were just
joke.
in the
Yeah,
studio, like, what are we going to call this band? I'm like, Consequence of Energy. And then we just
of
like,
course.
Are you serious? That's how it all
yeah,
came
no,
about.
it was literally like the only option I threw out. I'm like, Consequence of
I
Energy.
can say it was like obviously like consequence of energy, like because a lot of things were going on
Just happening, like
in that
energetically.
time. So it was like it was kind of joke, but like we didn't think about it. Like nobody says anything else. Like Mikey said, like yeah, and it was like yeah, we like it. And people were, it's too long. Yeah, we like it that way. It's kind of cool.
It really fits in so well because you're really talking about like the mission of all your songs and talking really about the impact that your songs are going to have on the population. And the consequence of energy, and music to me is energy, it's perfect. I mean, quite literally, if you tried to think of a name like that, you wouldn't be able to. It's like a gift.
Unfortunately, like if you look up Consequence of Energy before we started doing any kind of advertisement, it's only about, the energy crisis in the world, like, and maybe some physics, but there's nothing, like no one's ever used Consequence of Energy
Yeah,
and maybe like a dissertation and a thesis about fossil fuels and green energy.
So, in this business, that actually works to your advantage because I've talked to a lot of people that have had to change like favorite names for bands because it's already in use somewhere. So, that really works to your advantage. Can you tell the audience more about the other band members since they're not here? Tell us, like, kind of their personality or their backgrounds or who they are.
first and all, now we are all good friends. They are all super talented. Our bass player Pedro has been involved in all the new metal scene and rock scene for 20 years. He's like super respected. He's a great human being, super serious, technical in what he does, but it's super fun too. I love him. Rolly, like Rodrigo, the guitar player, he also was part of one of the most important and relevant bands in Chile called Requiem. He has been around playing gigs and touring He's a genius too, super focused. Like when I come with an idea, he helps to build it up and make it sound like in the way we are doing it. So like his input is really important too in that. Well, Amaru, he's a great percussionist beside a drummer. He also been in the scene, but more in other kind of bands. Like here in Chile is huge. It's called La Moral Distraída, the distracted moral. So they like play other kind of party music and stuff like that. But they were really like successful here. So for us, it's a privilege to play with him. He's super fun. He have a lot of taste for art and theater and stuff like that. So like we are trying to bring those elements to the band as well when we do live performance and stuff like that. When we play live, we have two big puppets that represents the duality. How do you say peluches in
They're like our little teddy bears. I'm trying to put a saddle on one to see if I can ride him out, but
Yeah, so we make jokes about it. Yeah, but it's important. But we use it in our videos too. So you're gonna see them in our different videos because we present our demons. Like everyone there have like your higher consciousness and your lower conscious, and you have like these polarities that are bringing there. So we try to bring them alive and show them like spirit of nature. So
That's
we're
very
doing
interactive, almost very much like Iron Maiden. Is that your Eddie?
it's
could be,
it's
but
our
there are
Eddie.
two. There are
It's our
two
Eddie's.
Eddies. One white, another black. So yeah,
So
we're
that'll be
like
good doing live performances if you actually have them coming out once they realize that there's a connection, to
yeah.
your videos and to your
Yeah,
special filtered
Mhm.
vinyls.
they're on our live show for Into the Void. You can see on YouTube. The official music video for Into the Void is coming out, I think, next week. They're a big part of that video.
How did you create what they were supposed to look like? You playfully call them teddy bears.
One is like a black spider, like a huge four arms spider with a like Japanese mask, and the other one is like a deer.
It's like a Sasquatch deer with a
Yeah,
cape.
yeah.
So which one represents what? I'm really confused.
Well, that's one of the tricks because in the narrative, like the dark is always the bad, sometimes the good. So for us, it's like we leave them to anyone's opinion. They are complementary forces, so they're all there.
That's true about a lot of things. You could see the pro and the con to something, especially when you talk about someone recently had a conversation about snakes and they were like, yeah, but snakes kill this thing. And, it's like, okay, there's something in something that does something that eliminates a danger. So you could look at that kind of in different ways. Wow, I'm really super excited about this band. This is really something. Tell me a little bit about how you're feeling about this. I know we started out the interview and you said we really didn't realize that we were going to have this band together. So how does it feel like realizing that this band came together and that it's really going to be released? I call it a mind trip when you start out doing something and you're like, oh, wow, this could blow up. Like it does something in your mind. How do you all feel about it?
I think we are managing okay. Like we are playing Lollapalooza and shows and stuff like that. But I think because we are a little bit more mature than we were, we have a lot of fun. We like it. Like we love it. Particularly, I love what I do. When I quit playing guitar for many years, it was like I feel a little bit dead inside. And now when I come back, like a lot of energy and feelings, like I'm a workaholic, you don't even know, like is what gives me energy to do everything else. You know what I'm saying? If this goes well, awesome. But because it's something that I would love to do every day. But at the same time, imagine how beautiful it is to be on a stage with your best friends, having fun, sharing beautiful words, bringing inspiration. And I don't know, the other day I was seeing an old interview of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Anthony Kiedis was saying like they were based on pleasure, like that they were like having fun and sharing with their best friends. It's like I feel the same. It's like an honor to be with these human beings sharing this space and a scenario.
That's great. So how do you feel about it, Mike?
Yeah, for me, it's like I said, it's a privilege to be able to be in this position, and to get people to hear it is even more shocking. And I'm excited. Like Diego said, we don't have any expectations, but we want to give back more than that's why we're waiting for the whole album to be out so people can have the full experience. But also, there's, measurements that have to be taken to be able to reach the audience that we need. We have a great manager as well who's guiding us and making sure that we get the most out of the release. But at the same time, we're anxious and we want people to hear the full message because we know what it means to us, and we want that to be heard by everybody. So,
Yeah, we hope to grow
and
that in everyone, right?
a lot of people we've played the album for, like, have always usually ended up very emotional. Actually, the lyric book in the album will have a description of each song, not just the lyrics, but like what it means, So that's important too, like, because sometimes people aren't willing to release that kind of information. They want you to kind of just interpret it yourself. But I think it's good enough to just be like up forward and be like, it's ambiguous enough to say, yeah, it's about this, but you interpret it the way you want. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping for that moment when I get to hear the feedback for the whole process. Because for me, it was very emotional to write the lyrics and kind of a therapy, really.
I have to say that that piece of it is really the important part because it's almost like your reflection in the audience, but then you're able to see their reflection back to you. And that's
Mhm.
pretty incredible. I mean, my feedback, I'm blown away. So, and I'm going to do everything I can do to promote you because I just feel this is incredible. But individually in the band, I don't know if any of you come from a musical background or a musical family, but it would be interesting to know if anyone does have music in their family. How are you getting support from other people outside of your band family?
Has been all the opposite.
My brother's a sound engineer, and my family from my mother's side are all from Hollywood. I wouldn't say music, but definitely in performing and performance and the art world. But my brother, as a sound engineer, definitely has given me feedback, and I have really close friends that are musicians, some well known, some starving, but they're all musicians, I guess. And my neighbors as well are in the music business, in a big community of musicians, of promoters, of the industry of art.
Yeah, we have like good friends that are musicians. Most of them artists or musicians. I personally like grow up like my dad loves the music and my mom like they teach me play guitar since I'm a kid. So I've been like surrounded by artists that my whole life. I started very young in the graffiti scene, so I love murals and street art and all this stuff. We try to bring all that together.
So, Diego, that's where your imagination has come from, looking at all the art from a young boy, right? I mean, for you to
Mhm.
be able to see all these murals in your head and be able to explain them to someone who actually can create them, that's got to come from somewhere, like your imagination, right?
Right. Maybe, I don't know. I think our imagination is not ourselves. Like we are just a tool for the higher spirit. So I don't like to say like sometimes we have like these ego trips. It's like I did this, that, but we don't do anything. That's in the end when you understand
Yes,
the
I
we are
actually understand that. I
Diego's
believe
a lucid dreamer. So.
exactly.
yeah.
Yes, I understand that. I also believe that we come into this universe with a set of gifts.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes someone a lifetime to realize what their gift is. But I really do feel that everyone is given a gift. It's incredible that all of you have come together because in all of your different actions in life, this may be a very unique gift that you guys are supposed to be sharing
Yes.
on this earthly plane that we're in. You guys are really on a higher level. I call that next level. When you're bringing people to thinking outside of the box and you're bringing people to a different set of emotions they didn't realize they had, that's next level work. So that to me is one of the biggest compliments. So I'm giving that to you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Catherine. Thank you very much.
So, what would you like to tell the audience? Because this is the opportunity. We're going to be releasing all these singles. January is going to be the whole kind of culmination of everything. Are there any plans for you to tour, do public events, plug your social media?
Most of our festivals will be in the summer, Chilean summer, and then hopefully we start booking for Northern Hemisphere summer for the tour. I mean, we're using Our timeline here is the summertime Chile. So we have at least 5 shows booked starting in January till Lollapalooza. And then after that, we'll see if we can get somewhere in Europe and the United States or Canada. For now, we want the audience hopefully to listen to more of our music and, stay tuned. We have a whole bunch more to come. Check out Into the Void if you haven't heard that yet. We didn't talk much about it, but it's a therapeutic song, at least for me. It has a lot to do with trauma and rebirth and the recognition of some things hurt, but then you get yourself back up and move forward.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because when we roll out from the interview, the first song that's going to be played is Freedom. The second song that's going to be played is going to be Into the Void. They're completely different songs. So what was the timing between those two?
They were made almost the same week. One Monday, another Thursday.
On the album, I think Freedom comes after Into the Void, but completely different concepts. Freedom is more expression of community and spiritual, emotional, political, whatever you want to call it. And Into the Void is more internal trauma. And it's from anywhere from personal relationships to your own relationship with yourself.
So yeah, for us has been a trip to explore those things too, like how our insides reflects outside, how like sometimes we pretend that we understand but we don't do anything, and sometimes we take action but it's hard. So like also we try to touch those subjects as like human beings that understand that we are like hurt by life, by like, I don't know, like as Mikey said, like traumas, situations, but like we are like trying to heal, but it's not that easy, even though like you know what you have to do sometimes. Like,
yes, well, I can't wait for the audience to hear them. So can you just plug your social media? Like, what's the best way for people to find out who you are? Do you have individual accounts, or do you have a band account?
Yeah, we have a band account, Instagram, as well as a TikTok, Consequence of Energy. Yeah, everything is through those sites, through Instagram, TikTok, under the band, no individual.
And the music, you can hear it in Spotify, YouTube Music. We have some videos in YouTube, some live, some official videos. We are releasing a new video next week in September, some lyric videos. We're trying to put the things there so like people can engage and like talk with us and start like making this grow.
Well, it has been a pleasure to have you on. Is there any last minute parting words from this exciting band? I'm really thrilled. I can't wait.
No, thank you so much for having us, Kathy. I think it was a privilege to speak with you and share this message, have a conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. Peace and love for everyone in this moment of history that is really needed.
Yes, thank you. So we're going to roll out with Freedom. It's been a pleasure to have you both on. This is Consequence of Energy. Best wishes to both of you.
Same for you. Thank you very much for your time.
Freedom doesn't come for free. We hope and we pray for light to lead the way. We're all stuck in this game. Dream of better days. demon's blood. I am sinking, not fail to fail. Oh, I fail to fail. My weakness. Why? Why am I? Why am I so weak? We are both to blame. And now I try. 'Cause you taught me a lie. I need to feel free. I don't know what to do anymore. I want to fly into the void. I don't know what to do. I feel weak. I'm weak inside. It's not your fault. We both had a fall. What do we do? How do we move on? Can we be sad? Can we learn to live? I will just think, how can I be?
You have been listening to Bringing the Darkness to the Light with Catherine Nadal, professional psychic medium, Dream Central Station, LLC. My audio editor is Al Hemberger at the Loft Recording Studios in Bronxville, New York. This is WNEW 102.7 FM radio.